right, so we're pleased to be joined with now in the Commanders Week, member of Channel 3 News, the ABC affiliate in Corpus Christi, Texas, the
Oh, I
very
got the
own,
shirt for it.
yeah,
Yeah,
Ryan Hopper, also
that was not planned.
lifelong Washington fan, formerly the Redskins, now the
Oh,
Commanders. You see him wearing the Redskins. Oh yeah,
so sorry we got that disgusting act on
you
live
gotta scratch
television.
that. You gotta scratch that. Sorry. Bleep that out. Hit the cuss button. My bad. But yeah, glad to have Ryan Hopper join with us. We met Ryan back at our undergrad. I'm now gone from there, but TJ is still there at the University of Texas at Austin. Met in the organization Texas Student Television Sports, was our student broadcasting organization, and Ryan was one of the best. So glad you can join, Ryan.
one of the best. Wow, that's high praise coming from the Joseph Duffy. Joe and I were
You
calling a
got your
game
jerseys in the
once.
rafters.
We Joe and I were calling a game once, and remember that, Joe, in the peace room, and the Texas was playing St. Joseph's, and
Oh, that's so funny.
I introduced Joe as, and I have another St. Joseph here right next to me. It's Mr. Joseph Duffy. So that's high praise.
I can't believe we did that, honestly.
That
I
was
cannot believe we did
crazy.
that. That was like, is that going on a year ago at this point? It's probably like 10 months ago at this point
Getting there
because we were
because
trying to.
that was in early season December college basketball tournament, and we were calling it on an illegal stream
Yeah, we,
delay
we were commentating on crack streams, bro.
onto YouTube. TJ, it was
This was
ridiculous.
so good. I need to go back and
All
listen
I
to
hear
that.
is crack
It's
streams.
definitely on
That's all I
YouTube.
need to know.
No,
It's
but like
definitely.
we put effort into
Oh,
it.
we put work into it. We prepped. Oh,
We
we had
did.
like
We had the
the
sheets, yeah.
stats on
Oh,
the
there we go.
side. Yeah. Oh my God. I cannot believe we did that. But yeah,
And the way Joe gets to geek out about Texas high school football, not that I don't do that now too, but but I didn't grow up here. I was geeking out on him with East Coast high school basketball powers because I knew where like all the St. Joseph's people went to school because I like played them or I played against AAU whatever. So anyway,
But yeah, I did appreciate that nod for sure. The St. Joseph's and St. Joe's nod before we actually dove into the call. But glad you could be here, Ryan. Again, Ryan is a reporter for an MMJ for Channel 3 News, the ABC affiliate in Corpus Christi, Texas. Has quite the future laid out for him. Just he's an all-around great person. Love to speak with this guy, talk ball with him, and that's what
Hey,
we're
we
gonna
gotta lay
do.
off this real quick. He's a Commanders fan. Anyway, we gotta mention that. All right.
Yeah,
no, but
lifelong.
again, I grew up there. I'm from my hometown is Alexandria,
Okay.
Virginia, and then I came to Texas for school. I grew up in
Obviously
Texas.
joking.
I like Texas teams.
Yep.
You guys know how it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Respect, man.
Also,
Respect.
originally grew up a Florida Gators fan.
I
Going to
did.
Texas would also change that in a way as well. So,
Yes.
we've worked on
Wrong
our,
school, TJ.
yeah, we've worked as well
The
on
right school to
another
me.
Hump Day Huddle podcast. If you recognize our faces, this
Yeah.
Hump Day Huddle talking Texas football as of late. And
Every
so Ryan
Wednesday.
Hopper,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a little bit of a home and home podcasting that we're doing so far in
Absolutely.
this episode. Episode 89. Let's dive in, fellas. Covering the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Washington Commanders. Historic rivalry. Dallas Washington doesn't get much better than that. Seems to be rekindled as of late with Jaden Daniels. Just absolutely shocking the football world last year, taking the Commanders to the NFC Championship, led with Dan Quinn, former Cowboys DC, former Atlanta head coach. Let's cover these losses real quick this past
Mm,
week for both franchises.
yeah.
Dallas getting stunned at Bank of America Stadium in Carolina. Washington getting stunned at home against the Chicago Bears. A contrast from last year where they had the Hail Mary that defeated Chicago. Ryan, I
Yes, we
want to start
did.
with this defeat, that tragic fumble that happened in a rain game in Washington.
So my sources on the ground, i.e., my good friend Campbell Bright, who was at the game, claims the rain wasn't that bad because on TV it looked bad. Maybe it was just the reflection with the lights off the helmet. It looked really bad. He claimed he was not under the rare seats at what was formerly FedEx Field, is now Northwest Stadium, that is covered. There's very few seats. He was not in one of those. He said it wasn't that bad. And remember, Jaden got away with an inexplicable non-contact fumble earlier in the game, and he got lucky that the ball bounced right back to him and then he went down. So, I've never seen I don't think two fumbles in a game in a Commander's uniform for Jaden. If I have, maybe it happened last season, happened once. I don't count on that happening again, but I can't say it's not concerning. And the Commanders have had a lot of bad luck, but they've also had a lot of good luck, which we'll get to later when we talk about the defense.
Yeah, for sure. And TJ, this Panthers game, man. My goodness. More of the same with this historically bad defense. Your thoughts on that Carolina game?
Well, first of all, Joe, I really appreciate the introduction to this podcast. I'm doing fine, by the way. But
This is the interview that we already introduced. We'll get to the introductions.
yeah, you're
Oh
right.
my
You're right.
Lord.
No, no, no. This is I mean, the Panthers just an astronomically embarrassing loss from the Cowboys, and you talk about the Rico Dowdle comments. This is the Rico Dowdle game. I don't think anyone took Rico Dowdle serious. I for sure know that Matt Eberflus did not take Rico Dowdle seriously with those comments
Mm,
because it was terrible planning all around. You
mm.
kind of wish that somebody like Kenny Clark would step up and, somebody that from the Micah Parsons trade, somebody that the Cowboys thought so highly of that could stop the run defense. We're still at square one with this run defense from last season. It doesn't seem like anything has changed. Nothing has moved the needle. And the defense, just overall, just trash. And, you wish that the Cowboys could take this win because you look at the upcoming schedule, not just the Commanders, obviously, but going into November. I mean, we have a tough, tough, tough November schedule. It does not get
Mm.
easier for Dallas the rest of the season. You needed to pick up that win for any hope in the playoffs. I guess the Commanders losing Monday night and the Eagles also losing kind of gives us a sliver of remaining hope to be competitive in this division, but I don't see where you can hold out hope in any other fashion for this team right now other than the offense. It's good, but when the defense can't complement it, there's really no point in hoping that this team can make it far.
But
Man,
I'll say this, don't despair too much this week specifically, because at least for the start of this season, we've been afflicted by a similar thing. It's just because this defense has had in 6 games has had 3 touchdowns against it called back for penalties that were behind the play that had nothing to do with the outcome of the play. 3 times the Commanders have been bailed out. The defensive numbers look a little bit better than the underlying ones. This is still a Commanders unit, bottom quarter of the league in every major defensive category except third down and against the run. They've improved a little bit since last year against the run. And I think it's partly because we gave Dante Fowler to y'all. We let Dante Fowler walk. He's a great pass rusher, but he flies up the field with no real regard to gap integrity a lot, and he gets some sacks, but when he's not producing, it's a liability.
Dante Fowler with a career high 11.5 sacks, I believe, last season with Washington was a big part in that turnaround. And perhaps nobody was more happy this past week than Philadelphia Eagles fans after getting embarrassed on Thursday Night Football. Washington and Dallas both lost. And like you were saying, TJ, I did not
Double
expect
magic.
Rico Dowdle to do that
Oh
at all.
man.
I didn't expect him to back up back-to-back weeks now with 200 plus rushing yards. I mean, Jerry Jones was saying, shiver me timbers, basically, when he tried to say that it could be a revenge game, essentially, playing his old team. And the guy delivered. I tip my cap to him. For sure, he delivered. Bryce Young found a way to move the chains in that key 4th down and 3, which I thought was a little bit too much cushion. But as you saw, they're trying to bait that throw in the slot, move the chains. They end the game with a field goal. Let's move on talking about maybe some key returns here. I'll start with you, Ryan. Terry McLaurin got hurt a few weeks ago with a quadricep injury, trying to
Mm.
dive for, a touchdown chance against the Raiders. He has a chance, though, to come back along with CeeDee Lamb of the Cowboys. Do you think this can make a big difference for Washington if he's able to come back in Dallas?
Well, of course. I mean, having your all pro receiver back for either team is going to make a massive difference. I have one question, Joe. Did the phrase "shiver me timbers" actually leave Jerry Jones' mouth?
No, he didn't. But
Oh my gosh.
what he was saying
I was
was,
going to run to find that
You can
clip after
actually,
we were
yeah,
done
you can
recording.
actually claim that he said that, and I would believe you because that's just something that Jerry would say.
No, but like in his voice, that would
Shiver
be
me timbers. What he was
shiver me
saying, I
timbers.
believe the quote was,
The glasses.
Rico Dowdle had that one quote saying that he can't wait to play his old team, and Jerry was like, "Oh man, I just consulted our guys, and they just told me they're scared to death about what's about to happen to Rico Dowdle playing them again, or something like that." It was very tongue in cheek, but it felt like he was saying like, "Shiver me timbers," like I can't wait to play against Rico Dowdle, who we let go.
And then Uncle Rico fried him up.
Yeah, somehow,
Still taking
Fried
unbelievable.
him
Javante
up.
over Rico any day. I don't care, but I mean,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is the thing,
I'm
you know.
fine with it. I'm content with it.
You wish that he could produce like that when he was in a Cowboys uniform. It's like the same scenario for me with like Kristaps Porzingis in the finals. Like, why was he so good against the Mavs? He never tried that hard in the Mavericks
To
uniform.
be
Well, the
fair,
same with Rico
Rico,
Dowdle, man. What's going on here?
he turned up a little
Well,
bit towards the end of the season last year.
well,
I'll give him some credit.
Give him a
there was a
little,
cultural
just a
problem
little.
there. Like McCarthy was losing the locker room because I feel like what happens to y'all's teams is the coach eventually gets undermined to such a degree that influential players bypass the coach and go to ownership, which also I'm familiar with from the Snyder years because stuff like that used to happen. And it just leads to dysfunction and chaos.
Well, as it
There's
stands,
definitely a lot
Terry
of dysfunction and
McLaurin,
chaos.
yeah, for sure, both dysfunctional organizations that we've had to
Can't wait
watch
for
for the
the
majority of our
Yes.
lives.
I
But
can't wait for the
Terry
yearly
McLaurin,
article to drop. Sorry. Okay, well, let's go. Let's keep it going. Sorry.
I was gonna say Terry McLaurin, questionable as it stands to
Yeah.
play on Sunday. CD Lamb actually returned to practice on Wednesday afternoon and is expected to return against Washington. TJ, your thoughts on CD returning after that crazy ankle injury on the rush play outside against Chicago?
Yeah, I mean we don't need to talk about that injury again. It's very,
Mm.
very, just on par with the Cowboys to do something like that. Um, I mean, I want to see the land back sooner than later, mostly because I think that this is a critical stretch, and having George Pickens as a number one wide receiver and a contract year is not going to look good for the Cowboys in the offseason. We need somebody to complement George Pickens right now. Obviously, we've had good compliments with George Pickens. Ryan Flournoy has shown up, especially with the New Jersey, New York Jets. And
They play New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean that is true. They do
Yeah,
play
I
in New
mean,
Jersey,
like,
so
yeah,
technically I am right there. But
yeah.
um, you know, it, we have the complementary receivers. Obviously, Turpin and Tolbert are able to make plays every now and then, but without CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens is just a man on an island right now. It's so obvious that he is the dominant, wide receiver number one. So getting CeeDee Lamb back sooner than later, obviously not just because he averages 100 yards per game receiving wise, but just getting him back so we could, have some people that can complement George Pickens nicely. Yeah, we need him back, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean, what more could you ask for with your all-pro receiver? Now, I
At
bet
least
the
y'all have
Cowboys,
Pickens, though.
and the
We
thing
don't
is,
have any type of threat like that right now. And don't try to tell me Debo
I was
Samuel.
about to
I was
say,
gonna say Debo
No,
your
Samuel.
leading receiver,
no,
Debo Samuel.
no. Debo Samuel is very hard to bring down. But at this stage of his career, I feel like he's not the number one anymore. Maybe, and you could say maybe he was always a great two and never a one because you don't have to plan for any game breaking speed or any like jump ball ability like Pickens has. Like Pickens can be, throw it up there and give him a chance. And Dak, has had a lot of great footballs this year. Like best I've seen in years from Dak. So we don't have that. Uh, we got Chris Moore playing boundary receiver against the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football.
Respect Luke McCaffrey, by the way. Respect him.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
Luke
it's the point right
McCaffrey's
there.
coming along. He's coming along, and his dad was a very good receiver. His brother, obviously, we know is a great athlete, but it's slim pickings. We would have killed for the Flournoy game. How do you say it?
Yeah,
Ryan Flournoy.
Flournoy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All I'm gonna
So,
say is, if McLaurin is back, I don't know what this defense is gonna do. I
and
mean,
he
we
did
can't.
practice today, by the way. Just
Oh
like
yeah.
CD, McLaurin practiced today, and he was limited yesterday.
Oh yeah, them dudes get healthy when it's Dallas week. You know what's happening. They're gonna magically heal up when it's
To the
ready
Super
when they're
Bowl. It's the
Oh
Super
yeah,
Bowl.
play the
No,
Cowboys in
Everybody's Super Bowl.
AT&T. Oh yeah,
well,
yeah.
no, I mean, I will
Oh,
say the local media, I think in an effort just to get interest, no matter what the records were of the teams growing up in DC, twice every football season, it was Dallas week. The
yeah.
teams could be in the playoff hunt. We could be, 4-12.
It's so funny how that
It's
works because
Dallas week.
apparently Philly does the same thing. I never heard of blank week until like Sirianni a few years ago when they were wearing their shirts. I never heard of that because I've never heard of it called like Philly week or Washington week. I just call it like playing the Eagles, playing divisional rival. But yeah, that's kind of cool that that tradition has been passed down even throughout different head coaches and you know different regimes by Washington media, like you were saying.
Yeah.
We talked about this Cowboys defense just being just awful. 32nd in the league in almost every single metric. You kind of touched about how you haven't liked the Washington defense, and they're in the very bottom quarter of NFL defenses as well. When you look at how you're hopeful for this team come Sunday, who are favorites, by the way, Washington is favored, I believe, by 2.5 points in Dallas. What gives you hope specifically on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, first of all, on the betting note, I believe some sharp money has come in on Dallas because it is now 1.5. So
Oof.
that either signifies a lot of public money, which isn't necessarily good for Dallas, but if that's sharp money, that points well for Dallas. I have a spooky feeling about this game. I don't love our chances because a lot of things in the NFL can vary in a week to week league, but some of this poor tackling, I don't know, Joe. I don't know. The Quan Martin attempted tackle on DeAndre Swift's touchdown was high school level. It was really high school level. It was as bad as the Texas defensive back attempted tackle against Florida.
Dallas Wilson.
Yes, against Dallas Wilson. It was as bad as that attempt at DeAndre Swift. Had him on the sideline. Got to keep him there. I don't know how much of that is fixable. There has been improvement this year, like I said, against the run. There's been improvement from Marshawn Lattimore in that he's clearly healthy now. So he's getting cooked far less frequently. And Mikey Sanders still picking off a bunch of passes. The second year slot corner out of Michigan won a national championship there. Um, was in contention, I believe, for defensive rookie of the year. I believe he had 5 or 6 picks last year, has 2 already this season. Um, you got the unction on the line. I mean, you got Kinlaw, you got Von Miller, you got Bobby Wagner behind them. Lots of veteran experience, but you have to worry about injuries. Um, Dak and company are going to move the football.
It's just
I gotta
Only
yeah.
so much can be fixed in 1 week.
I gotta say, it's just surprising to see a Dan Quinn team struggle this much on defense. Obviously, not nearly as bad as the Cowboys defense. I mean, it is a struggling unit right now for Washington, but I mean, I have to front.
More talent at his disposal though than
Yeah,
what Eberflus has. Eberflus doesn't. I don't know if he's scheming right or wrong, but he doesn't have the talent.
he's not scheming right. He's not doing anything right. I don't think
We
he's
have the
doing.
worst linebacker core like in the league by far. I think it's not even close.
But you
Awful
would argue,
linebacker.
but you would say
Yeah,
though,
it's
you have a
terrible.
lot of talent back there since losing Micah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
And you
pass
lost,
rush. I
what's
think
his
that
name? The nickel too, right? To free
yeah,
agency.
Yeah,
yeah,
Jordan
Jordan.
Lewis
He was
sucks.
huge.
But you still have Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs who have had historical seasons in the last few years, and to have them just have their production completely drop off a cliff almost. I mean, Deron Bland not nearly as bad as Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs has been terrible this
Yeah.
season, terrible traffic cone, and so I mean, I think that there is so it is just the talent is not there. We don't have a lot of talent, but the talent that we do have on defense is just not showing up. So it's terrible. Matt Eberflus, I don't want to blame him 100% obviously, but he does not have the qualifications for this job.
Last brief topic, fellas. Is there a home field advantage this week? This is a funny question because Brian Schottenheimer was asked about the sunshine that usually happens at this time
Oh,
of day
oh,
at
yeah.
AT&T Stadium. 4:25 kickoff, by the way, Central Time. for this historic rivalry. And as you remember, Cowboys fans, if you
Eastern
don't
time.
like,
Eastern
my
time.
bad, sorry,
3:30
325
Central. Yeah.
Central, yeah.
Yeah, you're on
And
Eastern time now. Look how he
I'm
changes.
out of whack.
Coastal
I'm out of
Elite,
whack.
Joe
You're out
Duffy,
of
I'm
the
out of
worst.
whack.
AJ.
Central
Look at
Oh
Time,
this.
man.
best sports time zone. All right,
Oh,
gotta
it
stay
is.
It
right
It
now.
is. It
is. It
is.
definitely.
I
Yep.
didn't know till I moved here.
I'm
No, it
going
is.
through it watching these Mariners games like in the past summer and the Rangers games playing over there in the West Coast. It's terrible. How do people do this? Anyways, 325 kickoff for this historic rivalry. Schottenheimer was asked, like, are you aware of the history of the sunlight complaints from Cowboys fans, from the opposition that usually comes in to play Dallas? And he's like, oh, I've never really heard of that, honestly. Like, we have the mechanisms in place to be prepared for if there's bad sunshine, but I don't know what you're talking about, really. Do you think there's home field advantage for this game for the Cowboys, who are technically undefeated so far this year at home? One game. It was that crazy game against the Giants. One game. We'll say they're undefeated for now. Had a tie against the Green Bay Packers, tied at 40. Washington is 1-2 on the road. Do you think this matters at all? I'll start with you, Ryan.
You guys are no better than me because this is y'all's team. This is y'all's home stadium. I would say it's not nothing, but it is not nearly the extent of what Washington has to work up against when the Cowboys come to town. Because as I'm sure all of you guys can see and hear on TV through the broadcast, it is a bowl game atmosphere at FedEx Field when y'all come to play us in Washington because it is generally a half and half crowd. Depending
Mm.
on team performance, maybe it's lopsided one way or the other, depending on how what the records are. That is far more significant than any kind of sun because that sun could work up against each team. And as a home team, you should know what side to defend if you lose the toss in order to plan for that for the second and fourth quarters. So that's what I would say to that.
I mean, it's yeah, I agree with him. I agree with you, Ryan. It is. I wish that Brian were to put notice to the blinding sun during these 325 Central Time kickoffs that we have, because it's brutal and it has cost the Cowboys at times. It doesn't seem like it costs the opponents too much, really. It seems like it's always been the Cowboys
It
that
always
have gotten the
is.
bad end of the stick with
Really? It's
the
just like
sunlight.
Drop the picks
unlucky.
every time. Every
Like
It
they
just
just
time.
happen to be going that way every time.
I don't know, you wish that you would make a home field or a home stadium that would give you an advantage, but I don't
Oh,
know. I just can't think of any. I obviously just from a biased standpoint of being a Cowboys fan, I'm just thinking of the times that it has cost us and not opponents. I can't really think of one, but I mean, I'm gonna go with there is no home field advantage at AT&T Stadium. It's a tourist spot. It's not something that Cowboys fans, really lock down. There's years where we have been dominant at home. I think 2 years ago was one of them where we were
Yep.
dominant until the wild card round, where we got destroyed by the Packers. And that's just what happens. There's not a staple home field advantage for the Cowboys. And so they can win those games because they're good or they're playing a team like the Patriots, which were bad 2 years ago. I know they're good now, but they were dominating against those teams. I don't think that they can, there's no you can't bet on the home field advantage. That's what I'll say. You just can't bet on home field
Yeah.
advantage for the Cowboys because it can always, it's not going to be a huge factor. So
No, but when it is a factor, it's not this time of year. It is a factor for y'all. When you guys are looking at, oh, when you're at that stage where you're like, oh, we're going to make the playoffs. What seed are we going to get? Which is like a first time thing for me last year because there was always a question of if we would make the playoffs or not. But you guys have had that a couple times. You guys have had a couple 12-win seasons. You guys specifically, all of the dome teams, people don't talk about this enough really want home field advantage in the playoffs for as long as you can because just naturally, because of how human beings are and players are human beings, if you have to go to Lambeau, that is a significant advantage for the Packers. You do not want to be in the cold. If you have to go to Soldier Field, if you have to go to even Washington come January, Philadelphia come January, there's a lot of cold weather outdoor cities in the NFC. So that is where it's an advantage for y'all if y'all can get stuff at home in the friendly confines, even with the
well,
sun.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic, let's wrap this up. Do you have a score prediction for this another edition of this historic rivalry, Dallas and Washington? Let's hear it real quick.
Um, I will say this. Key to the game. This is the stat I texted you about, Joe. I had to drop on y'all. I'm not credited for this stat. I got this from a Commanders beat writer. We're 3-3 this year. In the three wins, they all three wins, the Commanders ran for 200 total yards. And in all three losses, they did not. And that's concerning to me because in the NFL, how sustainable is rushing for 200 yards consistently, even when you have Jaden Daniels? So, with that being said, I think that is going to happen against this Cowboys front. And so I'm going to say an absolute shootout. I don't think the total of 55 and a half is enough.
Yeah.
Uh, Shootout at Jerry World, 38-35 Commanders. The offense inexplicably comes alive. Chris Moore inexplicably is another kind of big game. Luke McCaffrey, just like Cowboys fans are going to be watching, and you're going to see a guy catch the ball because of Jaden Daniels, and you're going to be like, who is that? Who is that cooking our secondary? Is that Christian McCaffrey's little brother? Like, who is this?
I think
Who
I've
is
said
Chris
that all
Moore?
season. I think I've said that all
Bro,
season, Hop.
the broadcast will definitely let us know.
Oh, and then you're gonna say, oh, it's Debo. There's Debo on like they check it down to him for 7 yards. He trucks a defensive back, gets the first down.
Elon.
That's six.
Oh, Lord, yeah, Elam getting absolutely manhandled per usual, I guess.
I'm
Go ahead,
gonna.
TJ.
I'm not a betting expert at all, so don't take my advice, but I would put the house down on the over hitting on this game, 55 and a half. I think both teams go over 30 points, just like Ryan said. It's going to be a shootout, just for the fun, just for the laughs and giggles, since we're the Cowboys side. I'm gonna say that the Cowboys win 34-31. Brendan Aubrey seals it off with a walk-off kick.
Oh, that could be a
Ooh.
difference in this game. Matt
Mm.
Gay, early season struggles, and as y'all know, you guys have one of the best kickers of this era. So big difference there.
Well, last season, Jaden Daniels found a way to stun the Cowboys with the clock winding down in AT&T Stadium. I got a feeling he'll do it again.
That
Some
was
reason,
Mariota, Joe.
my bad, Mariota.
That
Washington
was
found a way in
Mariota.
general. That's on me. My bad. I knew I got that wrong.
Y'all beat us
Anyways,
with Jaden. Jaden is
yeah,
0-1
that was
against
a
the
low scoring
Cowboys.
game. I was very surprised how that first half went really last year. And after I saw that, I was like, man, are the Commanders for real? And then they found a way to finish well in the season. I think they find a way to win this game. Um, I do think it'll be over, as you're saying, TJ. I think it'll be an easy over. I think they win this game with the last second touchdown. I think they win 35-31.
Oh,
I'll
so
just throw
we're
it out
we're
there.
all in the same.
Yeah.
We're on the same vicinity. I will say that last year win against Jaden Daniels was an anomaly. That is a
I
I
got
football
a
mean,
game that
feeling
I
y'all
don't think
took
I'll
back an
ever
onside kick.
we
I
had to
guess
we had to
that
get him
game
while
will
he was a
never be
rook.
replicated ever again.
I am so happy I was on a flight during that game. I was like, oh man, I can't watch the game. And then I see everything from my friends' group chat, and I'm like, oh, guess I'm happy I got to miss this one. So
Well, the Commanders trying to see if they can stun their rival again in AT&T Stadium. And, it's a rekindled rivalry that has been so just down the past
America's
decade.
game.
America's game looking like
Yeah.
it's going to be good again. The 2-3-1 Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders who are 3-3. Hopper, before we get out of here, where can people find you? Where can the masses find Ryan Hopper?
They can find me on Twitter. Should know this off the top of my head. I believe it's at Ryan_Hopper 31. We can get a fact check on that maybe. You can find me on Instagram. I mean, if you have TJ and Joe, you'll see me in the mutuals. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook now because a lot of people in Corpus use Facebook.
Oh,
So I got on Facebook.
oh man.
We're a
Uh,
little gray
I'm
here,
not
man.
very active on Facebook. And you can find me on the Hump Day Huddle podcast if you are a Texas Longhorns fan every Wednesday on the Horns Illustrated YouTube channel with Joe Duffey right down there. That's you can
And we'll
find.
put
And
your links in
on
the
the K
description.
Triple I app if you want to see news. If you're interested in news, I'm not a sports reporter right now. I'm a news reporter. If you want to see Corpus Christi local news, I've done some crazy stories. KIII.com, KIIITV.com.
I'm glad you said KIII because I purposely avoided saying that. I didn't want to say K3. I didn't want to say KIII. I made sure to say Channel 3, the ABC affiliate of Corpus Christi,
TV3,
because
baby.
I didn't
Yes,
want to
sir.
mess it up. So there we go, Ryan Hopper, Corpus Christi MMJ. Thank you for joining us. Also a lifetime Washington fan. Best of luck to your Commanders. Let's get back to the episode.
Good to talk to you, Ryan.